What up, Schmoedown rockers? God. Apparently this is week 3, 4. Something of that nature. And, well, technically 4 in terms of the actual round 1 matches. Well, no, 3 round 1. Or at least this is the cool down of what happens for the Schmoedown since the Jericho thing finally, since the big thing happened. It feels like things have kind of settled down since the match. And it kind of bums me, because right now it seems other than like one of these matches where I kind of expected, and it did deliver in that regard, in terms of at least the results on that one. But other than that, oh god. Two of these matches, no matter who would have won, was gonna break my heart anyway. Hence why if you've seen the thumbnail, I'm in the field position for a reason, and that's why. Even more so from this recent match that aired today, as of this recording. The first one was the first heartbreaker for me. Leah Shannon Miller versus Rachel Silverstreeny. Both players who had potential that never got to see it, and now they had to go up against each other. One of them's never going to get a chance to see it. Or at least get a chance to prove herself. Given the last time she played in singles, it was literally Roca versus her and Roca. And she took Roca to wire, but wasn't able to pull her 5. And this is coming off the loss of the Pride. Who I'm guessing are going to be the one of the team that's going to be in the team's tournament at this point, if we're being honest. Because clearly Tom and Paul didn't work out, and we could have got a chance to see what their potential was, so we knew whether or not if they were going to be in the team's tournament. But given what we just got out of Paul, what happened with Paul and Zipper, which was another heartbreaker from that week, god damn it. And this one was the other one. I had to choose between Silverstream, which is why it's going to be more interesting going forward. Not only for that, but at least coming tonight's match, given the involvement of a certain someone who was managing in this one, which was funny with the fan pack, him basically doing his best Kate impression. It was fun. Your accent was ridiculous, Winston. I don't know. We'll have to. It'll probably get addressed by the time Rachel's show pops up later in the evening, a couple hours from now, as of the point of this recording. Well, yeah, technically a couple hours. Yeah, and that. Lisa Miller was on a roll. Plus, I loved her little promo with the little kitty, whose name is literally Tank Girl. Oh boy. Not as cool as like having a buddy whose cat's name's looks kind of like Garfield. Whose cat that kind of looks like Garfield, but is actually named Cheech. Cheech Chong, which is freaking awesome, by the way. Yeah. Well, sorry, I'm just got a small message I didn't like to see. But anyways, okay. She got TKO'd. That was not expected, and it doesn't truly show a record, because now she's 0-3. She loses to Paul Preston, who just lost his match to Zipper, has lost to Roca. And now has lost, who we don't know if he's going to beat Adam Collins or not, given it's a fan leaguer type. But Adams is good, but I wouldn't, and I think he'll probably pull what Rachel did, but I don't know if he can win it because he wasn't pushed by Gallagher, which I wished he would have. So we could have seen what he was capable of going up against Roca. But he has potential to hold his own, which will be next week. But regardless of that, then the match that I followed, I had Montano, I'm not going to lie. Granted, I understood with Snyder because has more experience and he actually, last I think we saw of him really in singles. Well, actually, it was between a terrible shot as a number one contender that he had, and then losing to Ethan Irwin. Now he's in this tournament. He has a little bit more of himself to try to prove, but... And then he does this crazy... That's the thing about this match is more controversial in the sense that he did something I don't think I've seen any player do in round 3. More so, he went against his usual thing where he usually likes to go first, and he instead defers. And then he decides to use that rule in round number 3 for the number changes, even though he was ahead. And in turn, his numbers got stolen, but he almost kind of knew that was what was going to happen. Mostly just to see what they would do, and he did that, and then he chose different numbers. But knowing his luck, usually those questions would be bad, and somehow his lucky numbers would usually be his undoing in singles. And somehow he wasn't worried about them getting stolen because he's been unlucky with them. And Robert wound up taking it, and somehow I need to text him, and I should have, but because I do have Robert as a Facebook friend, but fuck that Venom question. I haven't seen the movie and I knew it, and I'm yelling at the screen, Woody Harrelson. Oh my god. And it just got to his head and he couldn't even pull his 3, and eventually he finally gets one he could pull with the 5. Get him out of TKO range, thank God, but it wasn't enough to really do anything that couldn't have took a 2-pointer, which Snyder knew, and it lucked him out. That's how he won it. But at least he didn't get TKO'd. Thank the Lord for that. Because I was really hoping not to sleep on him, but I didn't expect and he does come up, and he's still behind though, so it didn't. It was just more Snyder playing to the game itself and going against his usual instincts and seeing if that favored him more, and it seems that's what happened. And it seems he's really just going by the seat of his pants and letting Roxy basically be the one to steer the ship, and it seems he steered him into a direction that wound up favoring him this time around. And it just seems, once again, Rockstars have the upper hand over Usual Suspects, who are somehow dead last, even though the only reason why they are is because Jader's been getting them the points right now. Under managed to get them the points they needed in that match. Which seems to be, which is even fucked up since he was a Usual Suspects member, and he was one of the few that gave them points. Since they started off fine, and then they lost it immediately. After the Jader match, it was tough to see. And so far, it's only been, and it used to be Ethan, but then Ethan wound up with the Usual Suspects, which did give him points going up against Roca, but that was merely out of pure luck. But anyways, as far as I am concerned, that was the right. And I think after this, going forward, I think people are going to consider what Snyder is doing as a considerable possibility strategy that somehow not even Bateman thought of, and I think he should consider it now from here on out, if they ever gets to that point. And then there's Barbarian versus... God, why am I even blanking on the opponent? That's even more fucked up. God damn it. I have my stuff on me. But regardless, Barbarian pulled out the win, as it was kind of expected, I guess. For me, I was expecting him to win on that one. But it was Whitney Seibold. Now I feel awful because I shouldn't have forgotten that one. Because I wouldn't have. And it's just Whitney just has bad luck, and he's not that great a singles player, and he's more of a clutch player in like teams. And it seems like things have gone well Deep 13 up to that point, but it's possible Deep 13 is going to be in that team's tournament more than likely because there hasn't been any other teams that they've come up with going forward. Well, in terms of personality, Drew was great for us, and that's another. But in terms of her it's more the fact she did they were played decent. It was a decent match that just. It wasn't as great, and apparently Riley still has not been playing as great. If this is whoever moving forward, at this point after Perry's win against Kalinowski, I feel like the way things are resulting is becoming underwhelming now after this matchup. Because this was more heartbreaking for me and it should have been, if Who's the Boss played like they should have in that pay-per-view against Shazam. Because no one expected it. I didn't either, man. And it's even more fucked up, like I had already mentioned about that whole thing, especially having the fact that Bateman just came off of a win for a number one contender's title, allowing the Finstock Exchange to get easy points going forward in that matchup, which, again, a Bateman versus that too. So once again, points regardless of what happens moving forward. And all they needed was one specific win to help further that, get them in there and allow them to have the title match to add what they needed to keep extra more points going forward, at least to keep them in first place, or at least within the top 3 conversation. Overall, and Drew, some people apparently on just recently watching Brandon Buckingham's channel, check him out too. Call sign cash salute, whatever you decide to call yourself in Gucciverse, apparently. But anyways, yeah. That wasn't much of a match. It was tight for what it was, but they were only decent players. Which Riley used to be a better player than that. A former two-time champ, all this other stuff. But it's clear he cannot hang as well in the virtual world as he used to hang in other places. And plus, he was already having a rough time going up against Janine. And this was kind of a match, but not nearly as tight as that one. And it bums me even as Dungeon Master. And Dungeon Master, it was a lose-lose situation. I was going to wind up curling in a ball after the match, because I felt bad for Riley about that, and he needed to prove something for his legacy at the very least. But it really didn't. It just showed that he may not have a chance against Perry, given that she just managed to hang tight with Kalinowski the same way as what happened with Greg. The difference is the results are not the same. And once again, singles for Kalinowski is just elusive to him. Chance now seems to have more, clearly is having more of a shot, and I'd be okay with him. I would like Kalinowski to bounce back in singles because it's the only one he hasn't gotten a chance to prove himself, which we know he can. It's just the one time he needed to, and he probably could have gotten the belt, and he would have been the first to have all 3 for the short period of time he probably would have had it. But anyways, this was just, other than Craig's match, which I was expecting Craig to win anyway, and Seibold putting up a little bit of a fight, as he should have. The high we got from Smith vs. Jericho, I didn't want this much of a come down from the matches we got, for me. God damn it. To the point where I'm more interested in, I guess, the only good that might come out of it. And now I'm bummed because I don't have a pay-per-view to kind of do something to pick me up and hold me over, until next week's singles and next week's tournament matches. At least we won't be getting it until next week. which just unfortunately has to be on the unfortunate day of our country where things unravelingly started going to shit. Literally almost 20 years, 19 years ago, and now this bullshit. Anyways, just, it was so frustrating to see this. Especially with the Quentin Tarantino one for Video Drew. Just, she couldn't pull the one match. It was because it was a blind spot because of the one movie she needs to see. All she needs to do now, if she gets Quentin Tarantino, make sure all the movies, rebrush up on those movies and rebrush up on that match. On that Jackie Brown, which I've not seen Jackie Brown. I've seen Pulp Fiction. I've kind of seen Reservoir, but not really. I need to brush, but anyways. Video Drew, character-wise, was good, too. Maybe not near, but there were moments where she kind of came off more like what she was in her shows on her channel than she was herself. Sorry, everything's around me is distracting me. But, lights. Oh my god. This is just... I didn't hate the matches. It's just more frustrating, and I don't got anything to kind of get me by for the rest of the weekend other than maybe other little things. But it's going to be interesting to have a... I don't know. Plus, I'm not hearing anything on the Smith-Jericho thing with my buddy, so it really didn't matter, this match, as much as it should have, given that the match itself is actually good for what it is, and I was hoping it would, but I haven't heard anything other than Jim just talking to me about some random other bullshit about some movie thing. Which, that's, I guess, whatever his name, the name of that channel is. I don't know. But it's bull. But right now, this is just... Now all we have left is Zipper. I know we got Mancuso up against Ethan. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm seeing this match. But anyways. Yeah, overall, guys. I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. The matches weren't, for lack of a better thing, entertaining. They just maybe just certain aspects of results just didn't hit the ways, and some of them were just frustrating. And I was hoping that maybe I could go into the rest of the weekend a little bit happy-ish, but knowing no matter what, I would have had to hear a retirement speech from Riley if he lost. And given how he played here, I wouldn't have blamed him because he's already beaten himself up. He's glad to take the win because he needed the win, given what had happened. But yeah, he wants to be happy about it, but I don't think he is, man. And he needs to get better on Perry, or else Perry's gonna actually stomp him. And that's saying, and that just shows that already put that fact of where Perry's at now in comparison to what she used to be as a player. And what we've gotten from the Real Rejects now, that they've got someone to manage them in the form of, and the fact they want to try, actually, and have shown they can pull some wins in their IG career, at least. Woo! Yeah, I'd say, in which Shazam currently now kind of in a number one contendership, at least, I'd say Coy's already up there, and maybe not as front runner as Shannon. Gucci's still going to be in talks, but clearly Shannon, I wish I could, clearly Coy's going to be in it. I don't even know if Ken's going to be. I mean, he can't really say anything on Jader because Jader was already a good player when he was already in the Usual Suspects beforehand, and he just got handed this because they needed a good player to give to R&B, and he's making the best of what he can, and given what he's been able to do, it's more the other with what he can with the other players. It's interesting, but I'm glad he hasn't mentioned something about a Cheez-It box this time again. Yes. But anyways, I love this match. I wanted to love this match, or at least be really damn good match. It's a fine match, but it's No matter what, it would have been curled up in a ball between Video Drew and Riley. But good on Riley. At least he's not, at least he's not a pushover, but it was done in such a way that it just doesn't feel like much of an earned thing for him. And Drew just couldn't pull it, and it just hurts more that he didn't. I don't know if she was really that great in the match against the kid. But now she has losses against 2 top-tier players right now. So as long as she can beat some other not as quality but still pretty quality players going forward, maybe within the dungeon, I don't know. But it seems she's played better-ish, but not by much. I don't know. I mean, at least better than what she was kind of playing in Cuckoo's Mess, I guess. Which, that was more a mess. And it frustrates me because I don't like the fact of being hyped that new Tom Juan didn't live up to new Tom at all. To old Tom. And Tom has actually... This already proves that whatever Video Drew had said about old Tom was full of shit. And that sucks. I'm glad for Tom, though, but it sucks for her because now she's proven was the weaker link of that group, despite maybe guiding him in certain directions when it came to it, but it's clear he's gotten better, and he's still a monster in trivia and playing that up pretty well. But I'm iterating a bunch of bullshit. But I'm done. They were all frustrating matches. I wish I had something else to bring me back up, because waiting until Monday is not going to be enough for me right now. I didn't hate them, and then it doesn't help that there's going to be other people bitching. I mean, but you know what? I'm going to leave on this. Some people who have been involved in the other leagues aren't wrong about the hands thing. But when it comes to the Schmoedown, the main thing itself, it's an issue. He's not worried about it as much as an issue, and to have him focus too much on that, he's not going to have fun with it. And that's kind of what they were supposed to have, is some fun, and everyone else that's kind of starting to take it too seriously, that are from these leagues. But it's more problematic in the sense that there's people here who could easily help build up your idea of a minor league for next season, Christian, and you're dissing these people who could help. I'm hoping I don't think Woodburn's as involved about it, but I know some people who have been, and I get it. That is an issue, and they've dealt with it for years, long before Christian ever did. But they're getting to a point of pickiness that it's kind of taking people out of wanting to watch it. And he's trying to do too much damage control that he just can't make time for. And he's wanting this to grow, and it's already finally seeming like it's growing. Just off of it, but yet it doesn't feel like it was as much. Because things seem to have, with this week of matches, cooled off a bit. Going forward right now, and it's just not as high as what we were feeling from those matches. I feel like it was more because of how let down we were on the main Schmoedown matches from the players we were hoping would do well. And that being a co-main event, and it wound up being literally an undercard. And then that match turning out, and then the Kevin Smith match overwhelmingly being a better nail-biter of a match that actually went to sudden death, which no one was expecting at all. And for as long as it went in sudden death. 3 questions in, I'm guessing. Yeah. So so far nothing here this week has done enough to live up to that and pick up from there, or at least not until maybe these follow-ups of the people who were in the play-ins finally facing their opponents that did qualify for round 1. And finishing off round 1 next week, and then we get the pay-per-view event, but I don't think I'll be able to talk about it until the following week. So we shall see how that goes. I'm expecting that to be a barn burner. Maybe not as much, but I don't know. Merrill could retain, but I do believe Ben is even hungrier, and I think he's ready this time to get the belt back and finally do something and finally not be the only action guy that is beating Dan Murrell, and this time he can do so with a belt. And I'm hoping for that when that happens. It's gonna be the toughest one is Marquis versus Oyama's gonna be a tough one. Hopefully Oyama can finally bounce back, but I wouldn't sleep on Marquis. Bibiani more likely will. I want James as much. I'd love James White to put up a fight, but I don't know but he barely was able to get past Frank Marone. What makes you think he's gonna get past fucking Bibiani? Which I think he'll face Barbarian, and maybe Barbarian can beat Bibiani. Who knows? That's gonna be, if he can. I'm hoping he can, or at least put up. I feel like that one could go to some that round 2 match. Jesus. But yeah, and then there's the one match that I think a lot of people are expecting is being fed to the Wolves. And I'm tired of my dungeon getting fed to them. Fuck! I'm already suffering this loss, and I'm already expecting Yakuza to, but I'd love to be surprised. You have no idea. But I'm going to feel really bad for Ethan if he can't pull it. But I don't think he is, because he'll come out a buzzsaw after that match with fucking Merle. Jesus Christ. I'm lucky he gave us at least 2 points at least to keep us at least in the middle of the standings and not in the fiery bottom. Which I'm already upset with that with the usual suspects at this point. Because some of these players are good, and I don't even. Vanessa's not even in this tournament. I don't even think she'll be in teams either. So that was a pointless to draft her anyway. Gosh darn it, which sucks. Which sucks even more. But at least Dungeon got to have all their players play. It's just that none of them got to play it to prove themselves further than their one match, and most of them being losses except for Parker. And Zipper. And God, who's Zipper gonna face? Fuck, I don't know. But anyways, that's my predictions, I guess, for next week's matches that follow up the play-ins leading into those round 1s in the final weeks of round 1 matches. What did you guys think of these matches so far? Are you just as heartbroken as I am about and just stab in the heart just as much as I am? God damn it. I got it Friday. I guess I gotta do like a call to the dungeon meeting or something. Friday, maybe. Through Facebook at least. God, after at least I'm done uploading this by the time of that. But anyways, sorry for being as long as I am, but it's just fucking so much, and I need to go in and fucking pray like a motherfucker. Anyways, what did you think of them? Leave a comment below and let me know. If you like this video, rock that like button with your us if you must. This is Rockin' Music Tyler. I'm Tyler. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown rocks, Scam Entertainment, and so on and so forth. It's cooking. Ooh, yeah, brother. Dig it.